As part of We the People, celebrating 250 years, here's This Day in History.
As we count down to America's 250th birthday next summer, we're sharing our We the People series, the people, places, and things of the past that have shaped our country into what it is today. Here's Charlie Shortino with This Day in History.
Hello again on this day, December 7th, back in 1941, a day that will live in infamy. Japan attacked the United States, an attack on Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. Wisconsin was home to multiple survivors of that attack. Just before 8 a.m. Hawaii time on that date, a swarm of Japanese warplanes bombed the U.S. naval base in a surprise attack. One of the Wisconsinites who survived was Russ Warrener, a 25-year-old seaman on the USS Arizona at the time. He had been on the lookout platform of the ship when the attack started. He was then knocked off the ship, eventually making his way to shore after being pulled onto a small motorboat. He and his brother Kenneth were the only pair of brothers to survive. Another survivor from Wisconsin was 105-year-old Ed Miklovic from Brookfield. He is one of the oldest still living today. Miklovic was recognized earlier this year at a Milwaukee Brewers game, even throwing out the first pitch. Following the attack, the United States entered World War II. They joined the Allied effort against the Axis powers and eventually would go on to win the war. That's This Day in History for December 7th. For We the People, I'm Charlie Shortino.